New iPhone 13 model here, from the iPhone 13 mini all the way up to the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and we're unboxing them all, starting off with the standard one in the iPhone 13. Now, unlike last year, none of these boxes have plastic wrap around them, which is Apple's latest move to help reduce the amount of waste in their packaging, so kudos to Apple for doing that. But inside of the box, we have the iPhone 13 itself. We'll take a closer look at it in a bit, but first let's finish up with what's inside, where just like last year, all you get is a Lightning to USB-C cable and your typical documentation and Apple sticker. There is no charging brick included, so if you need one of those, you'll have to buy it separately for around $20. Okay, let's take a look at the iPhone 13 itself. So we got it in this product red color. I feel like it's a little bit darker than last year's product red, and I really like the look of it. While it has mostly the same design as the iPhone 12 with the same squared edges and the glossy finish on the back, there are a few things that'll help you spot the difference. The first and the main one is the new camera system, where instead of being stacked like on the iPhone 12, the iPhone 13's cameras have a diagonal layout, with the lenses themselves being a lot bigger, with Apple fitting in a bigger sensor along with sensor shift stabilization, bringing one of the most significant upgrades to the standard iPhone camera in years. Now, the second visual difference on the iPhone 13 is a lot harder to spot in the smaller notch. It's now 20% smaller than before, mainly in the width, with some of the components being rearranged in there, like the earpiece now running across the top and the selfie camera moving over to the left side. But really, the main thing you need to know here is the notch is going to be just a little bit less obtrusive when you're viewing full screen content or when you're gaming. But unfortunately, in most other situations, the notch isn't really going to make a difference since Apple isn't taking full advantage of it in the UI. There's no extra information being displayed up in the status bar, with still no option to show something like the battery percentage up there. But who knows, maybe Apple will add that in a future software update. Now, in terms of the feel in the hand, while on paper the iPhone 13 is a little bit heavier and thicker than the iPhone 12, it's not something you're going to notice unless you're holding them side by side like this. But even then, the extra weight and thickness are easily worth it in my opinion, with the iPhone 13 having a much bigger battery inside, with Apple claiming 2.5 more hours of battery life. We'll see how it actually does in our battery tests, but for now, it's promising. Moving on, let's take a look at the iPhone 13 mini. So inside of the box, you're getting pretty much all the same stuff. We got the mini in this blue color. It's a bit lighter than the blue that we saw last year, and I really like how the aluminum frame looks, with it just popping a bit more. Obviously, we have a smaller 5.4-inch screen on the mini compared to the 6.1-inch screen on the regular 13, but what's cool is you're getting all the same tech, just in a smaller package. So it's the same new cameras, the same MagSafe charging system where you can snap on compatible accessories. You've got the same A15 Bionic chip under the hood, and really the only thing that's different outside of the size is the smaller battery. But if you don't mind the smaller battery and you've been wanting an iPhone that was lighter and easier to hold in one hand, then this year's mini may be the one that you've been waiting for, especially since the rumor has it that this may just be the last iPhone mini that Apple makes. Okay, so next up is the iPhone 13 Pro in graphite, where despite the more expensive price tag, inside of the box you're not getting anything extra. So still no charging brick here, but what you are getting is a completely new camera system, and it's huge. The housing is bigger, the lenses protrude more, and obviously you're getting that extra 3x telephoto camera along with the LiDAR sensor in there. So unlike last year's iPhone 12 and the 12 Pro, the iPhone 13 and 13 Pro won't be able to use the same case since the camera systems are so different. But for those of you who don't plan on using a case, with the Pro models you get a more premium matte finish on the back that doesn't pick up anywhere near as many fingerprints, and the stainless steel frame does a better job than the regular 13's aluminum at resisting scuffs if you drop it. But let's talk about one of my favorite new features in the Pro models, in the new display, which is not only brighter than last year's, but it finally has a 120Hz refresh rate. This makes the screen twice as responsive as the normal models, so when you pick up the Pro model and you start navigating through the UI, everything from scrolling to switching apps just feels so much smoother. In terms of the cameras, while all the new iPhones get the software features like photographic styles and cinematic mode, only the Pro models get the macro mode, where you can get super close up to something and snap a clear photo. This all happens automatically as you approach whatever you're trying to take a macro shot of. The transition is actually pretty seamless, and it's just one more tool in the Pro model's camera system that will help you take more interesting photos and videos. And last but not least, let's move on to the big boy in the iPhone 13 Pro Max. We have it in this Sierra blue color, which was a much lighter blue than I was expecting for some reason, certainly brighter than the Pacific blue on the iPhone 12 Pro Max, but nonetheless, it's a good looking phone. So unlike last year, the iPhone 13 Pro Max shares all of the same specs as the smaller iPhone 13 Pro outside of two things, which is the bigger screen, where you get a 6.7-inch display compared to the 6.1-inch display on the regular Pro, and the bigger battery. In fact, Apple is claiming that this iPhone 13 Pro Max has the best battery life on any iPhone ever. So I can't wait to see how it performs in our battery test. But overall, I'm pretty happy with all the improvements that Apple made to the iPhone 13 lineup. While a lot of people want to call this the iPhone 12s just because it doesn't look dramatically different, honestly, I don't think it needs to, since this is a relatively fresh design, and the iPhone 13's got better in all the areas that matter, like the better screens, the better cameras, and the better battery life, while inheriting all the stuff that the iPhone 12 series was